This video is all about the critical Q4 earnings call coming up. Hi, this is mxux. This is a pre-Q4 22 earnings call video. I'm going to go through some of my thoughts on the company while we are watching these great videos starring Joe Burrow and others. Why don't we get started here? What we're looking at is, let's talk about the present status. The present status of Lordstown Motors is they are in commercial production. The truck has met all the EPA and homologation and other certification requirements, and by now is for sale. I do believe during this earnings call they will announce sales of the Endurance pickup truck. This is necessary for the pickup truck of the year. They have to sell at least a unit. I do believe they're going to sell single-digit units this year. This has always been the plan. There have been some people saying, oh, they can only build 2 units. This is a normal ramp-up of BEV production. This is the same thing that Tesla is doing in Berlin, and all the other car makers are doing in all their other locations. This is how you operate a production line. You have to make, 2 and 3 second adjustments for paint drying times and these sorts of things. Now, Lordstown Motors is in production. FOXCONN is the contract manufacturer of this vehicle. Lordstown Motors has engineered it. FOXCONN is building it. Now, as I said before, one of the reasons for the MED, Motion in Harmony Electric Vehicle Development LLC joint venture between Lordstown Motors and FOXCONN is because FOXCONN up to date has never built a battery electric vehicle. And the idea is that Lordstown Motors is going to be, but this is my take on everything, is behind the curtain actually supervising this build and getting the line up to speed and so forth. I did a past video on this where I drew a flow chart. The idea being Lordstown Motors is going to do the design, engineering, and set up the manufacturing processes, and in my mind do a lot of the quality control during that process. And FOXCONN is going to assemble the parts and components of the vehicle and also supply the parts and components of the vehicle. Now, the senior staff at Lordstown Motors is top notch. They can run this plant by themselves, and they are working with FOXCONN to do just that. I know for a fact they have one of the top quality control people in this industry behind the scenes, and I am sure taking a major role in running this production line. I have some pictures at the end of this video of the Endurance. I can say that I see iPhone quality in the fit and finish of the dash. I think the truck has come out beyond expectations. I was shocked to learn today that it does in fact have a composite truck bed in it. Wonderful. I read a review by Car and Driver. We can't expect the Endurance to get fair press because all of these, and let's talk about Car and Driver. I mean, they are supported by Ford advertising and Ford giving them products, specially developed products, by the way, to review. So they're not. So what they said, the truck. Anyway, I'm not going to get into what they said. The point is, this is a great truck. This is an affordably priced truck, and it is feature rich, and it looks fantastic. I mean, the interior, the job they've done, I got to tell you, this is a mass market vehicle at a mass market price, and it is being sold to fleets. But there is no doubt in my mind that this would be a massive hit were it released to the public. Anyway, they've done a stellar job getting this truck out the door. And again, Lordstown Motors is working with FOXCONN, and if you look at one of my previous videos on the IDEV, I explain this. FOXCONN is in the business of making parts, putting together supply lines. They have, for example, in the iPhone that they manufacture, they also manufacture over 90% of the component parts that go into that iPhone. This is the same thing they're going to do with the battery electric vehicles. They're going to set up supply lines, and they are right now in a joint venture with Stellantis to develop vehicle component part manufacturing capabilities. They're going to supply the capital to run this line. They're going to supply these component parts, and they are going to supply the manpower and the training of the manpower to assemble these electric vehicles. Now, electric vehicles, by the way, take 70% less people to assemble. Their assembly lines are 70% shorter. There's a 6 million square foot plant that is Lordstown Motors, formerly now FOXCONN, Ohio, which is the crown jewel in FOXCONN's BEV plans. This is the only plant they own. The point I'm trying to make is that is a big plant. Lordstown Motors staff is there to supply the design, engineering, and to set up the manufacturing of these vehicles. FOXCONN is there to set up the supply chain and the assembly staff to assemble these vehicles and to also finance this effort. They presently, according to my calculations, have 9 vehicles which they're going to manufacture at this plant. Some of these are more closely close to production, and I would say the Endurance certainly is one, and I would say the Lordstown Motors high-top van, which will be coming out shortly, will be the second one. The rest of these, Model B, Model C, so on, the Model V pickup truck, which, by the way, is not on the Endurance platform. The Model V is on a separate platform. It is not based on the Lordstown Endurance. That is the word I have to date. That does not mean, now, with regards, getting back to Lordstown Motors, Lordstown Motors needs to raise capital. They can sell stock, which is not likely, at least under present conditions, unless some breaking news happens. They can take on debt, which is not perfect at this point in time because we have high interest rates. Yorkville Advisors, there are, I believe, $200 to $300 million left in that stock for cash revolving line of credit they have there, if you want to call it that. It's not actually that. That would cause some dilution. That's certainly a possibility. And the third possibility is a partnership, which Dan Niavaji talked about very much during the last call and the previous call, along with the white label manufacturing. That being manufacturing the Endurance with a different front fascia and perhaps the badge of another OEM on the front of it. Add to this, now that's a possibility. Add to this, and this depends on how these contracts are negotiated and what the pay dates are and so forth. However, Lordstown Motors is the engineering and design arm of FOXCONN's efforts in the United States. All of these 9 models that are going through the plant, in my opinion, are all going to be designed, homologated, certified, crash tested, and brought to production and set up for production by Lordstown Motors as part of the joint venture, of which they are 45% owners. And they are also going to receive revenue from these services. So that is something that we do not have a timetable on, but that is going to occur, and that is going to be one way that Lordstown Motors is going to finance the production of their vehicles. So we have to wait and listen for the call. Obviously, the burn rate at Lordstown Motors has been about $90 million a quarter. It's slightly reduced from that. There was revenue based from the sale of the facility in the last call. There's going to be limited revenue in this call. I am practically certain, from the sale of vehicles and associated carbon credits. The vehicle is ready to launch. They have customers. According to Hightower, the status of production is March of next year. They're going to go into real production at mass numbers when the supply chains are all set up. So we have approximately a quarter to fund here until that happens, and then we have to have funding to finance the building of these vehicles. I mentioned the design services as part of that funding, Yorkville Advisors possibly part of that funding, possibly a stock offering if there's a catalyst coming out of this call, possibly a partnership with another firm. I'm very bullish on Lordstown Motors. I see in the background we have the present CEO of FOXCONN, Young Lee, who is, I got to tell you, this Hanhai Tech Day, and Terry Gao is coming up here. What a fantastic presentation FOXCONN put on. What a marvelous partner for Lordstown Motors to have in this business venture. I don't see how anyone could doubt the outcome of this venture. I mean, when you look at what FOXCONN has done in just 24 months, the development of these vehicles, getting them to the point where they are, and the seriousness, and I cannot emphasize this enough. Lordstown is their plant. They own it. This is the crown jewel in their efforts. This is going to work. They're going to make this work. This is the pivot point for their entire corporation. I'm just going to close here. These are some shots from a Spanish language video on the Endurance. What a fit and finish on that cab. Fantastic. I'm going to put a link. There's the bed with some detail on the lighting and the outlet. This is the close. The order form is back up at Lordstown. Not working, but it's back up.